I think her biggest problem was just not being able to improvise very much. And that's what politics is these days. Like California Governor Gavin Newsom, love him or hate him, he's been able to kind of adapt to the circumstances, tap dance, find some new way of getting attention. Maybe it won't work for his own way, but he's taking after Trump. That's just not her personality at all.
Welcome to The Debrief, where we talk with the Washington Examiner's top journalists about the headlines they're covering and where the story's going next. I'm Sarah Bedford, and I'm here with magazine editor David Mark. David, former Vice President Kamala Harris has announced the dates and locations for her upcoming book tour to promote her book, 107 Days, about the campaign trail. And I guess my first question is why?
That's a good question, something that I think many of us are trying to figure out. One is she's trying to burnish her image. She doesn't like being seen as a loser of the 2024 presidential race to Donald Trump, of all people, the president of the United States for the second time, effectively allowing him back into office. I think she's eyeing a 2028 presidential run. I've always been skeptical about that. I think this book tour may show her why that's not a great idea, but we shall see.
If you're her campaign advisor, her political advisor, what weaknesses are you telling her she needs to work on in this book tour? Is it likability? Is it candor? Ability to talk off the cuff? I mean, what would she need to drastically improve on during this tour for this to be seen as a success?
Well, part of it depends what the book says. I have not had a chance to read it yet. If somehow she were candid and it was full of me.
Well, the first excerpt did suggest, I believe there was an excerpt out somewhere that suggested, it might have been a parody, but that it was a pretty candid about that she was put in, like she was a victim of circumstance, you know?
Oh, that doesn't sound very candid, but point taken. Until I'll say my judgment until I actually have a chance to look at the book. But there's nothing in her political history suggesting she's going to make a bunch of mea culpas and say, yeah, I really should have gone on Joe Rogan's show and done all these other interviews. I always thought that was a little bit misplaced to blame just not going on Joe Rogan's show. I think her biggest problem was just not being able to improvise very much. And that's what politics is these days. Like California Governor Gavin Newsom, love him or hate him, he's been able to kind of adapt to the circumstances, tap dance, find some new way of getting attention. Maybe it won't work for his own way, but he's taking after Trump. That's just not her personality at all.
Are fellow Democrats enthusiastic about her attempts to return to the national stage, or as a party, do you think they'd prefer she go enjoy some R&R? Yeah,
I think they'd be happy to see her just kind of slip out of the public eye, go to a law firm, give speeches, make a bunch of money. God bless her. If she can engage in capitalism, I think she's going to realize on her own there's probably a limited appetite for it, unless she can do something different. Because remember, she's ran for president twice. She ran for the Democratic nomination for 2020. She didn't even make it into calendar year 2020. She flamed out there. I suppose did well enough to get herself onto the ticket, but then when she was propelled into it at the last minute, she wasn't exactly a clutch player, and she couldn't find a way to adapt to that situation, even though it was 107 days. So I think Democrats are probably looking in a different direction.
You mentioned Gavin Newsom, who has been blowing up Twitter with this sort of rebrand attempt. I mean, what does it say about the Democratic Party's lack of ideas that the best one is just being Trump? You know?
Well, they realize it's an attention economy. And what you have to do first and foremost is grab people's attention and have them listen to your ideas. Maybe they're good ideas, maybe they're bad ideas. Well, that's another question or so. And that's something that I think they're going to have a lot of problems with. It gets to the very point back to Kamala Harris of whether it was just that she was the victim or that she didn't have ideas that she was actually promoting that people wanted to vote for, and you can extrapolate that out to Democrats as well. So that's an ongoing conversation.
Well, David, thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you.
You can get more from David and the rest of the political team at washingtonexaminer.com.